Good evening. I'd like to thank all of our retirees for coming tonight. It's so nice to see you out in the audience, and I know there's going to be something coming up here in the meeting, but I wanted to thank you all for coming. And I'd like to call the meeting to order. This is the May 15th regular board meeting. This meeting is a meeting of the Board of Education Public for the purpose of conducting the school district's business and is not to be considered a public community meeting. There is a time for public comment during the meeting as indicated in the agenda. If everyone could please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mr. Chambers, when you're ready, if you'll call roll, please.
Mr. Nichols.
Here.
Mr. Ross.
Here.
Mr. West.
Here.
Ms. Pritchard.
Here.
Ms. Parkhurst.
Here.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That we approve the minutes for April 24th and for our special meeting on May 9th.
Thank you, Mr. Ross.
I'll second.
Thank you, Mr. Nichols. Any questions or comments from the board regarding the minutes from April 24th and the special meeting on May 9th? Hearing none, Mr. Chambers?
Mr. Ross.
Aye.
Mr. Nichols.
Aye.
Mr. West.
Yes.
Ms. Pritchard.
Aye.
Ms. Parkhurst.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any additions, removals, or modifications to this evening's agenda?
I'll move to approve the consent agenda.
Thank you, Ms. Pritchard.
I'll second.
Thank you, Mr. Nichols. Mr. Chambers?
Ms. Pritchard.
Aye.
Mr. Nichols.
Aye.
Mr. Ross.
Aye.
Mr. West.
Yes.
Ms. Parkhurst.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Sable?
And first up, I'd like to invite our Director of Human Resources up, Mr. Shields, to say a few words about our retirees. I would also like to thank all of our retirees for joining us this evening. And on behalf of Medina City Schools, thank you for your service to our district. The work that you do for the kids of Medina and Medina surrounding communities really means a lot in terms of molding our community, not just our school district, but our community and our communities into what they are today. And whether you're driving a bus, directing a department, working with finances, teaching social studies, winning trophies in speech and debate, the high value of everything that you do and have done in our classrooms does not go unnoticed, and your experience and expertise will be missed. It's all yours, Jim.
Thank you, Mr. Sable. I always start by saying it's really bittersweet at retirement, because as happy as I am for these retirees that they have earned this time in their life and are ready to move on, it's such a loss for us. And it's just, years and years of service. In fact, 541 years of the retirees this year. I'm going to put an asterisk next to that. Dale left. I think Dale left, but Dale actually would have made it 567, because Dale Rohrbaugh, who's our head mechanic, he worked here for 25 years and then went to be the head mechanic for Wadsworth, retired from Wadsworth, then came back here for another 10 years as our head mechanic. So really about 567. By the numbers, we have 23 retirees that we're celebrating this year, 13 support staff. Of those 13 support staff, we have 6 paras, 5 custodians, 1 mechanic and 1 driver that are retiring this year. We have 8 teachers and 2 administrators that make up this class. And an interesting note, of the 23, 6 are Medina High School graduates. So I'm very proud of that too, that about a quarter of them have spent a long, long time beyond just working here at Medina City Schools. So we're thankful for that. We do have a few that are here tonight. I just want to take a moment to acknowledge them. I'm going to start with Mr. Jack over there, because he's at the end. 33 years in the social studies department at Medina High School, 7 additional years at Highland, and then he realized to come work for Medina, and we're appreciative of that. But the one thing I'd say about Tim is that he's probably the #1 teacher that I hear from our graduates who say, if it wasn't for Mr. Jack, I'd never been ready for college, because you prepare them so well and are such a rigorous course of study in your room that they feel like college is pretty easy. That's the #1 thing I hear. Next to him is Scott Quaid, 34 years and some change here, and Miami grad, so I appreciate that too, Mr. Quaid. We share that. But Mr. Quaid, single-handedly, you saved our debate program, and not only did you save it, you took it to a whole nother level, and I'm so thankful for that. But in our toughest years when money was tight, Mr. Quaid was not going to let that program go away, and we'll be always thankful for that. So, Jeannie Blankenship is our assistant treasurer, one of our 2 administrators that are retiring this year. Jeannie's been in the treasurer's office a little over 8 years, and I know Mr. Chambers is going to miss her. Dale was here. Dale Rohrbog was here. As I say, he's a Medina High graduate, has worked as a driver, then mechanic, left to be head mechanic at Wadsworth, then came back. Dale's is going to be missed. It's really kind of the heart of our transportation department when you think about it right here, because we have Monica Welsh, who's 33 years as a bus driver, 35 years total in the district. Monica moved here from Boston, still has that accent. She doesn't think she has it as much, but I do love her accent. But the interesting, what's that?
I said I keep trying to hide it, but it just slips out.
It's there, Monica. But I loved when I was looking at Monica's application, and she put for experience 13 years of being a mom when she came to apply for the schools. And she worked up in the cafeteria here for a couple years as a sub in the kitchen. And she saw one day a posting to be a bus driver, and she said to herself, I can do that. And 33 years later, she's still driving a bus and doing a great job. She was a para for a few years in there too as well, but just a really great driver. And I think she's still trying to figure out if this is the right thing to do or not. And but we'll take you as a sub any day you wanna still sub for us. But just a great lady and a great bus driver for us. Karen Albury down here on the end. Karen was here for a little over 8 years. Started at Claggett High School and then ended up at Wade. Karen is like a free spirit and just so positive, and she is a joy to be around and cheers everybody up. And I know the teachers at every building where you've ever worked, that they became your true friends and really appreciated just what a great job you did for our schools, but just also being such a nice person when you were here working. I will see Karen on a regular basis. She's my neighbor and walks quite a bit, so I usually see her pretty regularly. And then I wanted to just talk for a minute about Mr. Travis, because Mr. Travis and I have worked together for a long time, worked very closely together. We both started in the business office. Rob runs, literally and figuratively, our transportation department like no other. The guy, the knowledge that he has. I was talking to one of his employees, and they said, well, Jim, it's because he's a bus nerd. And they meant that in a loving way, because Rob knows everything about the Ohio Revised Code, the administrative code. If there's anything bus related in Ohio, Rob has that knowledge. And it is not always the easiest job at the best of times being the transportation director, but these last couple of years with a shortage of drivers and trying to put routes together, and Rob has made it work and made all of our lives much easier. None of you will realize until Rob is gone how much he's made our life easier, because he's done it so well and taken such a great care of our students and the highest standards. And above all, Rob makes sure all of our students are transported safely and takes that very, very seriously. So I just want to thank all of them. Just a really good group. It's always sad for me because I get to know them. The best thing about HR director is you get to know all these people so well, and they become friends. And this is a great group here that I'm going to miss. But final plug, you can sub any day you want. Just let me know. But enjoy retirement, and thank you for all you've done for our students in this district and Medina City Schools and this community as well. Thank you.
Now, our retirees, you are welcome to stay for the duration of this meeting as a memorandum to your time here at Medina City Schools. Although I do understand if you want to mosey out, we won't take offense. Next up, I would like to invite our Athletic Boosters president up, Krell Johns, to discuss the donation of scoreboards.
Thank you, Mr. Sable. Board, good evening. And before they all leave the room, on behalf of Boosters, thank you to the retirees and the effort and the time and the equity that you put into our students. And we're grateful for it. Your fruits of your labor have done well in the real world, as they say. So I come tonight to propose a partnership with the district and with Medina Athletic Boosters, but I wanted to open up a little bit and share some of the things that Boosters has been up to. I think it's been a little while since a representative of Boosters has been in to share, so I just wanted to take this time to bring you up to speed on what's happening. I want to share this with you first. Our mission statement. The mission of the Medina Athletic Boosters is to enrich, support, promote all Medina City Schools sports teams, to encourage and recognize high school achievement, sportsmanship, and character, to raise funds that enhance and support programs for our student athletes, and to provide a vehicle for positive involvement by coaches, parents, and the entire Medina community. So that kind of sets a framework of what we do and why we do it. Everything we do starts with that statement, and then we figure out how to do it from there. So that's at the core of everything we strive to do. Wanted to also share with you a few of the most recent projects that Boosters has participated in and had the opportunity to raise funds for. The two obvious ones, the scoreboard at Ken Duke Stadium, which we are in year 3 now, and then the scoreboard down at Memorial Stadium for that playing surface down there. Those were, again, year 3 right now. The first couple of years, particularly with the board here at Duke's, had some kinks to work out. We had no idea the capacity and the content that could go onto that board and the opportunities it provides for a great experience, not only for our kids and our student athletes, but for the folks who come visit Ken Duke Stadium. So a couple of the projects we worked on. Another one that's coming hopefully soon is the weight room renovation. I use the term renovation. We are not tearing anything down or painting anything per se, but adding new equipment. It was brought to our attention by several of our coaches that the equipment in there has been in there for several years. And if you've been in that weight room, there's a lot of work going on, and there's literally a lot of heavy lifting going on. So the equipment we have in there is starting to age. Brought to our attention, need to be replaced. So Boosters, along with the support of several of the programs in the athletic department, were able to procure some new equipment for the weight room. I guess it was 2 years ago, hurdles for track. If you've not been to a track meet, I highly encourage it. We have some high-performing athletes on both the girls and boys side. So you'll see some hurdles out there with a very cool Medina logo on the standards. Along also with track and cross country is the purchase of a timing system, which I had, and you can tell by the looks of me, I don't do a lot of running, but we have found that the timing system has provided a great value to not only large track meets like the Invitational, but also to cross-country meets as well. And then the last thing I'll mention is in the last 18 months, we have purchased new nets and standard pads, if you will, for the volleyball programs, both boys and girls, which provides it's a great looking setup once you walk into the gym to see those things in there. So with all that said, just want to give you a quick update on that. The reason I'm here, proposing a partnership, and on the screen you'll be able to see kind of what we're working on. What we'd like to do is introduce and purchase 2 new video boards for the gym, both on the south and north ends of the gym. Last year we added a couple of, I call them wings, on the, I guess, this end of the gym, which kept track of points, fouls, and rebounds, I guess, on just the one side of the gym. It's a nice feature, and it's served well, and the coaches love it because they are able to see it beautifully from the sidelines. Now, as a frequent fan and going to a lot of the games, we've noticed that if you're sitting on typically where the home side sits, the standard for the basketball goal interferes with that particular scoreboard where all the points and all that are taken care of. So it brought to my attention that, hey, can we look at doing some video boards, much like, not the size, but much like the board that we have out at Ken Duke Stadium. So that started the fundraising efforts and started the juices flowing. So as you can see in our presentation and our pitch to the community, so our goal is to acquire 8 sponsors. And each sponsor, we'd be asking for a $6,000 a year commitment over a 5-year period to pay for these particular boards. I think it's important to note these boards will touch multiple activities that go on that gym. It's your first thought is probably goes to basketball, and it draws a lot of fans, draws a lot of participants. If you look at the girls program and the boys program in 3 levels in each, varsity, JV, and freshman, you're talking about a lot of kids, a lot of student athletes there. But think about the other things that happen in the gym: volleyball, gymnastics, wrestling, just to name a few. And then there's other activities. We just hosted a county all-star game several months back. The Harlem Wizards when they come to town, and just those kind of things that go on in the gym. So the goal is to create a better fan and, very frankly, student-athlete experience when you come to the gym. And as Craig pages down here, you'll start to see some of the commitments that we make to these sponsors. Not dissimilar to what we're doing already in our sponsorship programs. Brand exposure from the banners, the programs, the social media, all those things that Boosters throws their weight behind. So the sponsors will reap the benefits of that. And Craig, if we page down to our second page, what you'll see coming up here are renderings of what we have in mind. And there's a little added twist when you see this renderings. So obviously the scoreboard on the left-hand side is a look at what these boards would look like. Video action happening in the middle there, and then your points, fouls, digs, kills if it's volleyball, wrestling points, gymnastics points, those kind of things will appear on these boards. And then to the right of the pitch image you start to see some banners there. What we're proposing is on this end of the gym, right now we have several, I haven't even counted how many honeycombs are up there. And that helps us to recognize the efforts and the sweat equity that has gone into these sports programs by posting GCC conference champions and all the other conferences we've been in over the years, not to mention state award winners, conference, district, individual accolades that happen on that wall. So what we're proposing is we would like to add these banners, and these banners would appear on both sides of the gym wall. And here we will list all of the same participants and all the same awards that's already on the wall, just kind of cleaning it up. What happens with these is they're easier to change, adjust, add to as time goes on. We have enough banner space to keep adding to it, I'm proud to say. So there's some future planning going on in this. So you will see that's part of our proposal as well. We will also recognize the 8 sponsors that would throw the majority of the weight behind this partnership would also be probably permanently displayed there in the gym as well. And this is another look at the other end of the gym as well. So again, you'll see plenty of space and content for all the success that athletics programs have provided this school over the years. It might give us some opportunity to add maybe some years that are missing as well. So, what I'm asking is that I would like to form a partnership with the district to make this purchase for the boards and then the banners in the gym right now. What we would do is Boosters would commit to the school district those sponsorship dollars over a 5-year period to pay back the district in order to cover the cost of this project. So that's what's brought me to the meeting this evening. Questions?
So you have scoreboards
Correct.
currently.
Correct.
What's the plan?
We would look for an opportunity to repurpose those, whether they be at Root Claggett, or look for an opportunity to repurpose those boards. They are in working order, but we would look for opportunities within the district first to repurpose those boards, or maybe look for an opportunity for a district that could use them, and work with another district to help support their activities as well. So they would not end up in a dumpster.
So you got to train somebody to use it.
Correct. So the function of that will take some time. What we're hoping to do is maybe find a group or start a club of students who would like to learn, digital media and content and work with us on that and really get the students engaged in this that are just looking for an opportunity to learn. With the vendor would supply plenty of training for whoever it might be. And if it's a slow night, we're not able to get some students to help us out. Probably myself or one of my board members down there running the board. So I think it's a great opportunity for kids who might not be engaged in athletics but want to learn something about digital marketing, digital content. This might be a great opportunity for them.
I have two questions.
Please.
One question. What are the banners made of?
Those are going to be, they're not a fabric per se. I will get some clarification on that. I believe they're going to be a plexiglass type of material, so they will last and have some longevity to them without fading.
And then the second is, and I don't know whether they still have it, but I would contact the Career Center. They do have a digital media, they have a media class. I don't know whether somebody might want to
Sure.
spring off.
Sure.
So that would be one thing that you could do.
And the operation of the board is interesting. If you've had a chance, and if you haven't, I'd suggest you look at it. At Ken Duke Stadium, everything you see on that board is run from an iPad. And I can speak on behalf of my kids. Their eyes get about this big around when they see a digital device. So I think we could get some student engagement on that.
Thank you. I was thinking, I know the boards are currently there, the district does own, so I'm sure we can find a use for them here, maybe at one of the middle schools as well. So the cost is, I want to make sure I understand, $30,000, or is it more than that?
So the scoreboard, the two scoreboards themselves have a total cost of 140. I have the exact number right here. 147,000. Let me give you the exact number on that. I'm sorry, $146,436. The banners that you see, and I keep referring to them banners, but the banners, for lack of a better term, placards, $34,310.
There is an annual software cost that comes with this as well. So, but you've accounted for that in your...
Correct. So we've accounted for that as well. And the other thing to point out, once these boards are up and running, it gives us as boosters inventory to sell sponsorships. So we see this as an investment that generates revenue for the athletic boosters, which then in turn turns around and goes back to the athletic programs.
So I just want to make sure I'm understanding correctly. So the district would pay for this about probably $180,000. And then the boosters would reimburse us
Correct.
over the
Over the 5-year period.
5-year period.
Correct.
That's a similar arrangement that you have with the football and soccer stadium as well.
Yep.
That Boosters has contributed to.
Okay, all right. If you add up what you just told us, it comes to more than $30,000. Or where's the other money?
So the goal is to have 8 committed sponsors at $30,000 over a 5-year period, $30,000 each over a 5-year period.
Right, and
So that total, if 8,
yeah,
240,000.
but the two scoreboards together are over 280,000.
Oh, no, the 146,000 for the scoreboards.
Oh, okay.
That's for both boards. I'm
Oh,
sorry,
okay. All right.
I should have
Okay.
specified.
Yeah, and there are those also funds in there for the software maintenance and upkeep cost.
Correct. Correct. Additional questions?
Not right now. I might have more.
All right.
But I heard your presentation.
Right. Very good. Well, I appreciate the time. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. We appreciate it.
And thank you for the athletic boosters support. They really provide an opportunity for our athletic programs and our student experience to really be above and beyond, and that's something special for our kids. Graduation is Saturday. We're already there. Graduation for the third year in a row is going to be over in Ken Dukes Stadium. We're going to be setting up for graduation on Wednesday and running our rehearsal with our seniors on Thursday. The Career Center is going to be holding their awards promotion celebration on Thursday evening at 7 o'clock. Our graduation is scheduled for Saturday at 11 o'clock. We have already or are in the process of sending out communications to all of the families of our seniors. Since we do hold the event outside, we do want people to be prepared for the potential weather. Right now, there is the chance of storms, or not storms, chance of scattered showers last we looked on Saturday. Our plan, and our plan the last 3 years has been that we will proceed with graduation as long as it is a light rain. If we are in a situation where we have heavier rains, we will look at postponing the graduation. Our goal is to have the graduation on Saturday, so if it was postponed, we would be looking at postponing it to later in the day and would be communicating with families through our reverse communications calling system as well as our website and social media. If we are in a situation of severe weather where graduation just could not be held on Saturday, it would be scheduled for Sunday at 11 o'clock as the rain date. I feel fairly confident, though, that we will be able to proceed with our graduation at the normal time on Saturday. I think we had almost the identical weather prediction last year for graduation, and it ended up being really nice. The sun wasn't out, but it actually made it a more tolerable atmosphere in the stands and on the field during the graduation ceremony. And we had an outstanding ceremony for our seniors. So I'm looking forward to graduation coming this Saturday, but want to make sure our seniors and their families are prepared for the event, and we will continue to watch the ever-changing weather forecast as the weekend approaches, and will communicate as and if necessary. At this time, I'd like to invite Mr. O'Cole back up to the podium to discuss nutritional standards. Legislation was passed, I think, just a few years ago, where we're required to present publicly and to the board information on our food services program and nutritional standards.
Thank you. Well, I'd like to present, this is from Angie Sellers, our food service, the head of food service. And this is the food service and child nutrition 2022-2023 presentation that we present to the board every year. So we participate in the National School Lunch and School Breakfast programs and follow the USDA national requirements for lunch and breakfast. We also meet the USDA Smart Snacks in Schools nutrition standards in all of our cafeterias. Through April 30th, 2023, we served 392,031 lunches and 52,119 breakfasts. In addition to the federal and state reimbursement monies from the USDA food monies, we receive $147,990.47 in supply chain assistant funds from the USDA Food and Nutrition Services to help with the rising cost of food. The food service department currently has 48 staff members, 8 that were hired this school year, and 2 open positions currently. So that is the state of our cafeterias. Any questions?
I have a quick question, and maybe you don't know the answer to this, but what about, do we have an issue with any food waste from the students' lunches? Or what do we do with any food waste? I thought I thought that one of the buildings might have a compost bin they were starting or
There are a
something.
few things that we did. And during COVID, we stopped a program that one of the community members was put together. Aaron, can you help me if you know the name of that?
I don't remember the name.
I can tell you who used to operate it. It was Marcy Henning, one of our. Yes, that's what I was going to say. It is back on track. Project Redirect. And they take any food that is packaged and still can be repurposed or reused, and they put that. Do you know where it goes, Jim? So it does get redistributed through Medina County. So, and that was a great program. I know they collected quite a bit of food. From students, they have baskets set up in every cafeteria. The kids that don't want things out of their lunch, put it in the basket. It's just kind of goes under the radar, but it serves a lot of people. So it's a very nice operation. So I was glad to see that did come back. So thank you for asking.
Thank you. Didn't mean to put you on the spot like that. Sorry.
Thank you.
And the final item from me this evening, and Ryan, you can stay right up there. We have our formal facilities and levy presentation. We had a work session approximately a month ago to talk about the direction of our facilities plan and how that would impact finances. This evening at our regular board meeting, we would like to provide the board with more formal information, including drawings and potential levy amounts, both for an operating levy and a bond issue to support the facilities recommendations that we're making this evening. I'd also like to welcome representatives from Fanning Howey, our architectural firm that the board had approved, seems like way back prior to COVID when we first started this project long ago. They're here to provide support with the presentation and also be able to answer more detailed questions in their area of expertise in regards to the project. Again, as we discussed at our work session, we did take into consideration the community's feedback in the approach towards the facilities project in addressing the priorities and phasing the projects into 2 phases. Today we are presenting to the board phase 1 of the project, which is essentially the yellow plan, which includes the consolidation into a single middle school and an upper elementary 5-6 building. So at this time, I'll turn it over to Mr. O'Cole.
Well, thank you. All right, we have Steve and Mike Myers from Fanning and Howey to join us. I'll start off here showing this is the yellow plan and what building needs will take place in order to accomplish that goal. So starting off, we have, this is AI route. This is an aerial view. The white is the addition that will need to take place to house all of our 5 and 6 graders. They will add, the academic wing will be much similar to the other pods that currently exist. We'll then have some cafeteria space and a connecting walkway to get to the new academic space from the existing building. In this rendition, you can see the green area in the front of the building. This is a update of our, what we want to call a man trap. It gives us a secure place inside the building to allow visitors to come in and be inside the building but not penetrate the building. It allows us to control access this way. The red area there is going to be the new cafeteria area for the increased number of students. And then you see just above the green, there's a pinkish corridor. That's the connecting access to the new academic pod, which is, it will be much similar to the existing academic pods. So this is AI route. Another issue that we're trying to alleviate at AI route is we have a traffic problem in the morning. So this drawing here shows we have a dedicated bus access on the left-hand side, and we have a parent drop-off then on the right-hand side, so they have separate entrances and exits so that traffic does not intermingle. If Rob Travis was still here, he would love to see that. That's one of his constant complaints about some of the buildings is we can't mingle bus traffic and parent traffic. So this takes care of that issue that we have at AI Route. This is the bulk of the project. This is what would be the new 7-8 building, and this is the area that we're talking about constructing. This is across the street from the current Claggett. As you can see, we did a lot of work on this drawing in just the last couple days because of the parent drop-off, which is in the back of the building here. And we wanted to have access that parents can come off of Jefferson so we don't impede that four-way. And that allows for traffic to go in and out and not back up at that four-way stop. So that was the reason we've done a lot of moving around and even putting that driveway in the back that wasn't necessarily on the first drawing. Where it says service, that will be a gated access drive. We do not want to have a clear traffic path from Union to Homestead. So that will be a gated, but working with Mike Wesner and the rest of the city planners, Andrew Dutton, Amy, is that correct? Andrew Dutton. Andrew Dutton and Pat Patton and I met with Mike Wesner and reviewed this traffic pattern so that we could get a good idea of how the city would like to see our traffic flow in and out of this building, as well as how it would benefit the school. So Mike Wesner wants access from Union to Homestead, but wants it to be controlled. And then this is an aerial of the overall project. Once the new 7-8 is constructed, we'll then start with the new multi-purpose stadium below, and that'll give the middle school a track and a multi-purpose field. This will be extremely beneficial. Todd Hodke's helping us out right now because we have graduation and our lacrosse players are going to the state tournament, and we can't play while they're set up for graduation. So we have to go to Brunswick because Brunswick has 2 turf fields. Their main field is set up for graduation, but their middle school turf field is going to be available for us to use. So we're very fortunate that Brunswick's a little further along than us in this process. So that's where we'll be for that. And that's another way that we see this as a benefit to the community and the district. This is the new home bleachers. So this will be a 3,000 seat, but then there's 200 lineal feet of press box. Is that correct?
I think that's right.
So this will be the new home side. It will replace the bleachers that were erected in 1974. So this will be a welcome addition to Ken Duke Stadium. So project cost, I'm going to bring Dave in to assist with this. I put it on the other side over there too, Dave, for you. Do you want this slide or? Okay.
No, we went back and forth. I know we had a number of different estimates going through. I believe we had an estimate for the entire project, then we cut the project down after we heard back from the community with the survey from Kid First. And I think we even went back and forth because of the parking situations itself on both Route and the new Claggett. And so finally we came across the $98.9 million that you see here. And working that out. That'll give us everything, the addition to root, a new clagget, the bleachers at the stadium. Now I gotta look and see. Demolish the old clagget, get the track and across the street from, get the track where the current clagget is, and then allow for board renovations at Garfield. Altogether, that would be a 2.83 mil levy, bond levy. However, we are working with our bond advisors, and we have a levy that will be falling off here in 2008, or 2028 will be the last payment for it. So we are trying to manipulate the levy, unlike what you could do, you can't do with your home mortgage. We could manipulate the mortgage of the bond, and so we're looking at roughly 0.63 mils, which would be approximately $22 per year per $100,000. Also, we have a need for an operating levy. If any of you recall, we have not had any new monies since the 2013 emergency levy. What was passed in 2018 was a substitute levy, and that was basically changing that emergency levy over to a continuous and actually taxing, in addition, the new construction that occurs in the district itself. So the old levy, being 2013, we're looking at having the levy for 10 years, and now we need new monies. And what we're looking at is a 6.5 mil levy. It'll bring in roughly, I believe, roughly $7.5–8 million to the district on a yearly basis. It might be a little higher. In the first year, it's going to be $6 million. I believe it altogether it'll bring in roughly $12 million based on the new valuations. And we won't see that until tax year 25, because our school year 25, because our district runs on a fiscal year which begins halfway through the year. And this will cost the taxpayers an additional $228 per 100,000. So altogether, we're talking $250 per year per $100,000 household. Questions?
I have, well, this is kind of you guys, I didn't see in any of this, on any of your last slide, no money for renovations to Heritage.
We're going to do that out of general fund.
Okay, and then originally there was a plan to turf root. Is that still in there, or?
Yeah, that's part of this plan.
Okay. There's one other, oh, I know. My other question is, the new multi-purpose stadium, how close to the houses? Because it looks like on this side, the right side, it's right up to the property line.
It will be to the backyards. Yes, they will share a little green space between the stadium and their backyards.
Okay, and I see the bleachers. How many people is it going to seat?
It'll be a
Roughly?
smaller 800 bleacher like we have currently at Memorial.
Okay. Hopefully softer to sit on.
You got the guys here to answer that question.
And then the new drive is going to go to the west side?
That's correct. Yeah, there's actually it's the drive that's there.
Okay.
So it may be moved slightly during the construction. It definitely has to be redone because it was on one of our paving
Right.
goals a while back.
And then, are we putting fencing up all around it? Because otherwise you're gonna have to have ticket takers all along Union Street.
Yeah, it'll be much like the existing stadium as it goes down behind Homestead. That's all fence around there.
Right.
Yeah.
Is that included in the price?
We need to take a look at that, make sure that everything you're saying is.
We'll-
We'll go back and do a final look at all the numbers.
Okay, and the lights, is there any chance we can save the lights from Memorial Stadium?
We are trying to take advantage of the poles.
We did talk about taking advantage of the poles, but they're not LED lights.
Okay.
And if we're going through this process, I think it's beneficial to do LED
Oh,
lights.
yeah. And what about the cell tower? Does
We
that-
can't move that. It
it's-
stays.
Okay, that's what I thought, but I just wanted to
Yeah.
make sure. Okay, thank you.
And just to clarify, in terms of heritage, the reason why heritage is coming out of general fund is because that's with the redistricting process. So that needs to happen as part of the redistricting process prior to the facilities process occurring. So it's occurring with or without this plan.
I got a couple questions real quick, actually, on this guy here. That parent drop-off, is that like all the space that they're going to have for the parent drop-off at the top there? Because that seems like kind of squished when everybody's trying to leave.
It's like 500 feet. It's 20 vehicles is when we sat with the city engineer. That's what they projected. But it also gives, so we originally had it coming right off of Homestead, just tucking in here. And the problem is, and what the Medina PD did not like, is then you give no room for the cars waiting in line to drop off. So if we give them all of Jefferson, the length of Jefferson from the stop sign to the drive is a little over the 500 feet. When that drive clears, the next one's ready to go and can empty. So the process should go a lot faster. Currently, all parent drop-off happens in the back. Well, all parent drop-off is supposed to happen in the back, correct? Supposed to happen in the rear of the facility. And they come in the drive in the back here and do a loop and get out. And it's 200 cars. Jim Ty is our resource officer at Claggett, and he's counted the cars on multiple different days to get an average. And he says it's about 200 cars every day that drop off students. Not very many pick their students up, but they all want them out of the house. So,
I just wanted to add, that, again, this is a representation of the building footprint. And so listening to that, we'll try to maximize the length of that drive in any actual design. But just the thought of coming in off of Jefferson and knowing that we want to make that drive as long as possible is what we want to do.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. I wasn't sure because I know we have that service area that's going to be blocked off if, we end up finding, hey, that isn't long enough. We would have to like open that or something. But I mean,
yeah, there's
just
a
thoughts.
chance we can move that retention pond further south. The only thing is it really needs to be at the lowest point of the property. So that's what you get into with retention pond. It happens to be, that is one of the lowest corners. The other one would be the what would be the northwest on this rendition.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. My house is right across the street from there, and we're the lowest point too. So we'll be a second retention pond if you need it. We already are for the street. But besides that, parking that is at Claggett right now going to be the same thing with the stadium itself?
So we'll have the parking that's in the rear of, on the drawing, you can see that is the existing parking in the rear of Claggett currently. And then between the drives in the front, that is all parking as well. On one of the, was it this, was it the other drawing? Yeah, staff and visitor parking. So I think we had it separated in one of the renditions differently, but this kind of combines it all together. So the other thing it's going to do is our staff will be there on time in the morning because they won't want to fight the bus traffic.
That's fair. And then the, what is it, East Street or whatever it is that outlets in the back, any desire to push traffic out that way or just try and keep it all on Union there?
The buses currently go down Union, so it's one that we know that they can navigate easily. Some of those side streets get into cars parking on the side streets. They're not allowed to park on the side of Union, so it's kind of a open access for buses. So that's the driving force behind that.
Yeah, no, I was just thinking for the stadium traffic and that
Oh,
type
yeah,
of
stadium
stuff.
traffic. Yeah,
Yeah.
we're going to leave it open in the back and
Okay.
in the front, so.
Okay, cool, awesome.
I have another question. Are we going to put fencing around the retention pond? I mean, I sure hope so, because the retention pond over by Echelon and Union Square, I mean, I've talked to Jim a couple times about kids going out there when it gets a little, they think it's frozen and it's not, and they're messing around.
Yeah, this is not a long-term retention. This is a short-term retention during
Okay.
storm only. So it might be wet for 24 to 48 hours. But other than that, it's going to look like a depressed area that is grassed or vegetated. So the choice of fencing or not fencing certainly could be added. But it's not going to be permanently wet.
This sounds exactly like my yard. If you need any help designing it, come to the front yard.
It'll be similar to what back behind the girls' softball field currently now, down there. I mean, not the cattails all the way up, but a dry lake.
I appreciate the drawings, and for Route especially, I think that second driveway is a really good idea. I know there are issues with the buses and parking, and I know Sturbridge gets backed up because of cars and the ins and outs, so I that's a really good idea.
Sturbridge does get backed up. The parent parade starts at around 2 o'clock for 3 o'clock dismissal.
On this one, yeah, I live like a block from here, so I see it. So how the drive on the right of this would be for the cars, and the drive on the left would be for the buses. So which direction are the buses coming in?
They'll still come in and out the same way. That drive will be an in and an out, so they would go.
No. I mean, are they going to be coming from the east, or are they going to be coming from the west? The buses.
Well, most of our traffic will come down route. Well, I don't know. That's a good question.
Because I ask, because now I see in the morning, I see cars and buses coming in from what would be Route 3.
That's where I would say
Okay.
most of our traffic would
And
come
so if you
from.
have cars coming in this way, you're going to have to get the buses over. That's why I was just wondering if that's been.
Yeah, I'm just trying to think logically. We don't have a lot of bus routes that'll be on the west side of route. We might have a couple come down like Oak Street.
Yeah, it seems like there's less traffic coming from the west side than.
That's why you met with Jen.
Yeah, again, that's why we did meet with the city planners to discuss this.
But I can tell you from experience for the last 23 years, yeah, this will be a lot better.
And I'm hoping with the length of, if you notice, the parent loop is longer than the bus loop. I'm hoping, again, that will alleviate or get that traffic off of Sturbridge.
I hope so too. I've been delayed many times getting to work in the morning. Can I go? Well, I got another question. This is on the bond end of it. So for the operating bond, Mr. Chambers, you said 2.8 mils is what we were looking at.
Yeah, 2.83, yes.
Sorry, 2.83. And when would that start?
If it's passed here in November,
Correct.
the collection would start in January.
Okay, so it would start January 2024, and then we have one falling off on
December of 28.
28. So it'd be 4 years at 2.83, and then it becomes effectively a 0.63 in December. Is that right?
Vice versa. It's effectively a 0.63 for the first 4 years, 5 years, and then it'll take on the current bond millage of the 2.2 to become the full 2.8 in 2029.
Okay. Okay, I understand now. And then on the operating levy, that would go into effect in 2025, is what you were saying?
No, we're looking at that to begin also in January of '24. Yeah, we were originally looking at 25, but in order to expand our current balance, we would have to have an 8.5 mil levy for that.
Yeah, okay.
So we did not want to do that to the taxpayers.
No.
Mr. West, I think I have a question that might be where you're going. So I think, Mr. Chambers, you said that we wouldn't see that money until the fall of 2025. So the taxpayers will start paying in January 2024, but we actually won't get that till the fall of 2025?
No. No, we would see that money with the first advance in January of '24.
Yeah. The same thing, yeah.
So even though the collections are being made till January 2024, isn't there a delay or a lag in when we'll actually get the money? We're not going to get the money.
We'll get, no, all collections, no matter what is passed here in 2023, all collections start in December of '23, and the collections are distributed in January of '24. Okay? So we could, if we were, who just passed a levy? Brunswick? If we were Brunswick, they have to wait until January here to receive any money for their bond that they passed here in May.
I think they delayed their collections till
Is it a
2025.
bond,
Yeah.
or is it an operating levy?
It's a
that they
bond. Their
delayed?
bond, they delayed till 2025.
Okay, then they're going to wait basically 2 full years before they collect it. We're looking at collecting it here in January of '24 so that we could start building here in '24.
Maybe the state will give them their money finally. So my other question is for you, Mr. Chambers, is what exactly will it say on the ballot concerning the bond?
I don't have that right now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that is going to be different from any levy that we've had. And part of that is because of legislation that was passed last year. So I don't have the verbiage at this point. We will have the verbiage for you probably in June at some point.
Okay, I'm still going to go one more. If we wanted to increase the operating levy, because we don't, I mean, most of the sales tax money is eaten up on other things that we've long-term, like bus leases, roofs, parking lots, et cetera. If we added an additional like $250,000 for just to general fix up or make sure fields or equipment is up to date, how much more is that going to be? Like another like $8 off the top of your head?
Off the top of my head, it'll be roughly what's a quarter of $35. So near $9, $8.75, $9, something like that.
Something.
So that would be per 100,000.
Right. Okay.
And I think I answered this for you in a
Yeah, you
question
did,
that you had. That would generate roughly 450,000 for
Right.
the district.
Okay. Thank you.
So, Ryan, question for you. So, when we start digging for that Claggett building, where are they going to play soccer and where are they going to practice?
Well, that's what Jeannie kind of asked that too. So one of the things that's going to happen in the process of this construction project is we will turf AI root field so that we have a venue that we can use. We'll then start construction on Memorial. And once that project is complete, then we move across the street. So the kids will stay in Claggett until the new 7-8 building is constructed. Once that's constructed, we move out of the existing Claggett, and then we can take down Claggett. and start then our athletic facility there.
And, okay. Is that facility an 8-lane track? Can the high school use that, or is that strictly middle school?
We were figuring 8 lanes? 8 lanes.
So it can be used by the high school? Okay.
And that's the track that currently St. Francis also has an agreement with us that they use that track.
Oh.
And I think Medina Christian Academy currently, they have no facilities, so they currently use it as well.
Okay.
So this all
If this all went through, that would leave us with, we'd end up with 3 turf fields and 3 tracks.
Yes, yes, that is correct.
What,
2, I'm sorry, 2 with lights and 1 without.
That is correct.
who's without lights?
AI route.
They don't have lights? Okay. Where are the students who are at Claggett, once the construction begins, where are they having outdoor phys ed classes? Street?
That's a great question.
Okay. Just was curious.
I'm sure that's a detail that will get worked out.
Yeah, as a phys ed teacher, I kind of like to know that.
I appreciate that. It's really nice to have these drawings. I know we've been talking about the 5, 6, 7, 8 building for, I think it's 5 years or something like that. So it's really nice to see these drawings, to see the architects again and get walked through this because this is really an exciting time. And to have the numbers as well. I appreciate you putting all of this together.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I have one other thing to add. This is just a personal note. I went, very long time ago, I went through a tear down of half of my high school while they build another half. And they shoot us all over town in churches and fire halls, and we thought it was the greatest thing. So in the chaos, I can tell you from personal experience, the kids they'll find it fun somehow. I don't know why, but they will.
The kids might thrive in that, but the staff is not going to like.
No, the staff did not like it, but it wasn't as bad as, it was chaos, but it was fun chaos, so.
It'll be
Jeannie,
nice not to have trailers anymore.
Yeah, I was going to say, Jeannie went through the last renovation with trailers here at the high school, so. Ron, did you have one?
No, I asked.
Oh, you got it, okay.
Gotcha. Thank you.
Great, thank you very much.
The only other thing I wanted to add is just a reminder that it has been over 10 years, or will be over 10 years since we've asked for new money. And the district has made it a point to never ask for anything more than what we need. And has been very fiscally responsible, and I appreciate that.
Good evening. The district bank balance decreased by $1.9 million in March to $72 million. This is $4.1 million below last year at this time. 5-year forecasted revenues were above last April by $1 million. Real property, public utility, personal property, and other revenue account for this increase. 5-year forecasted expenditures were above last April by $2.6 million. All expenditure categories except for capital accounted for this increase. The sales tax fund balance increased to $4.09 million. The district spent approximately $37,000 in April with expenditures on roof project, elevator repair, and fleet master lease agreement. We also received our final sales tax for the year at roughly $1.1 million. The rec center capital fund balance decreased to $250,000. The district spent approximately $9,400 in March and received $2,900 as reimbursement from the city for prior month's expenses. The district received $117,000 in investment income in April. The total collected for the current fiscal year is approximately $500,000 above the total collected for all of last fiscal year. The district has forecasted funds, true days cash estimated to be 207 days. This is down from March by 7 days and below last year by nearly 23 days. Questions on the financials? Okay, outside of the consent agenda, you will see that there is a memorandum of agreement. This has been going on since April. Actually, I asked our state auditors if we could get away from them, please, and they finally consented. I was asking this back in 2014, 2015, 2016, and so it's been nearly 10 years, but they finally consented and said we could go to some independent public accountants. So memorandum of agreement is on the board agenda to enter into an agreement with Charles Harris and Associates to be our independent public accountants from July of 22 to July of 27.
So the state doesn't do our audit anymore? It's going to be Harris and Associates?
After we get our audit done for the 21-22 year, yes.
Huh.
It'll be Charles Harris and Associates. Yes.
It's for the fiscal year ending 2023 is when it will start.
Yeah.
Mr. Chambers, we don't have a cost for that yet?
No, not as of yet. We will get that to you once we do.
Thank you.
And finally, 5-year forecast. Just go to the last page, Craig. Okay, go up. There you go. I don't know if you guys could all see that, but this is our forecast for May. It's basically a revision of what was out there in November. If you go to line, go down to line, I believe it's 15.01. You could see the ending balances here. We're estimating for the current fiscal year $39 million, estimating for the 2027 year, $22 million. That is with the levy. We're allowed to project levies on the forecast. We're not allowed to submit the levies to the state. The state will end at line 10.01. So if you look at line 10.01, we are in the hole $20 million. The projection is based on the $6.5 million itself, or 6.5 mils itself. So you could see with the 6.5 mils, we'll still be running in the black, ending 2027 with roughly $22 million. 5-year forecast for Medina City Schools consists of 2 funds, the general fund and the substitute levy. Within these 2 funds are 2 main sources of revenue. These sources are real property taxes and unrestricted grants and aid, which are your school foundation funds. The real property tax revenue provides a stable source of income as a result of the passage of the substitute levy in May of 2018, with collections beginning in 2019. This levy has allowed for continued funding of $6.6 million to the district without increasing taxes to our community over a 10-year period. The school foundation funding has had numerous legislative plans over the past 12 years. In January 22, the state began the implementation of the Fair School Funding Plan for public school districts. The implementation of the full plan will take place in 6 years. Legislation is still being debated in the Ohio Senate concerning funding. The current forecast shows minor growth based upon the current funding formula that is now in place. Please note, the average statewide based cost per student is $7,351. The district calculated base cost is a little less at $7,246. However, the district only receives $1,149 per student from the state. The district receives the additional $6,097 through property taxes. Legislators currently have a number of bills that will reduce the total amount of funding going to our public schools. Bills such as the backpack bill or school choice bill have been created to reduce public school funding, as legislators in leadership positions in both the House and the Senate have continuously stated they are not public school advocates. The district assumes increases in expenses as the forecast moves forward. We assume personnel will remain with the district as the retirement systems have increased their years required for retirement. Purchase services are assumed to increase at a cost for tuition and utilities and are anticipated to increase as well as supplies and material costs with the return of inflation to the economy. If you look at line 7.020, it shows the combined cash balance for the general fund and the substitute levy. As you see, the forecast shows the yearly reduction in the ending balances of programs and services continue to be offered. With the passage of the substitute levy in 2018 at no additional cost, the district stated that no new funding would be requested until it is needed. The district has been spending down the balance, offering additional programs and services throughout. As with our November forecast, the current forecast shows the district the district estimates that it will need additional funding through an operating levy. The district is continuously reviewing our cost-saving measures in an effort to keep the request for additional funds at a minimum. It is important to note that if changes occur, such as changes at the state or a replacement to this to the Fair School Funding Plan, the 5-year forecast and any additional cost-saving measures will need to be further reviewed. This forecast is made based upon current information and with a number of assumptions and is only good for the day it's created. With state legislators putting more taxpayer money per student into non-public, for-profit community schools and voucher programs, public school districts throughout Ohio will have to look to their taxpayers for more support. As inflation continues, more money will be needed to obtain the same services, supplies, and materials. History of revenues and expenditures can provide a guide, but there are plenty of outside factors that will have major impacts on the best forecasters. That's all I have. Have any questions? I'll be happy to answer.
Mr. Chambers, has there been any updates from Columbus regarding they want to get rid of the income tax, which would take a lot of our money away?
The House passed, or I should say, the House withdrew that legislation or that portion of the legislation. They are going to look for other sources to I did not say take the money away, no. They're going to look for other sources to reduce higher incomes tax. Let me put it that way.
Mr. Chambers, is there any update on our class action lawsuit against those vouchers? Or do you know?
I think Mr. Sable could answer this as well. I believe the court hearing has been set. I believe it's set for, is it the end of June or July? Something like that. It's out there, it's been set.
Yeah, and we're not actually part of the lawsuit. We are part of a consortium that's working together with an organization that's against the voucher system. And there's actually a small number of schools that are directly involved with the lawsuit, but the consortium organization is supporting the lawsuit. But it is ongoing.
Thank you. Oh, yes. I forgot. You have a number of supplementals to permanent appropriations. The major portion are on your 009 funds. These are your consumable funds. The individual buildings are going to be purchasing Bridges math books, workbooks, workbooks, Chris? Bridges math? They'll be looking at Bridges math. Okay. And so that's what you see with all of your 009s. Your principal fund, you have two there for Canavan and Northrop. Those are to pay for their Washington trips that they have gone on. They're looking for payment here. Canavan is looking for the, not Washington trips. These are donations, I'm sorry. These are donations for, no. Playground field donations, I'm sorry. And the Canavan and Northrop here. I threw that one all off here. I'm sorry. The last one that you see here is your Claggett field trip. That is your Washington, D.C. trip that they just went on and they're going to be paying for. And I spoke about the 5-year forecast, so I'm good to go now. Thank you very much.
If there's no questions or comments from Mr. Chambers, we can move to board communication. And Mr. West, you may start.
Thank you. I'd like to speak about the Diamond Project, but Mr. Ross is going to do that for us tonight. But I had a facilities committee meeting back on May the 4th. There's lots of summer projects going on with Ryan's group, lots of roofing projects, paving, lots of paving going on. The pool resurfacing, he reported back that the initial estimate, I think you mentioned like 1.4 million, is now like 810,000 or something like that, and some change. I don't know if I have the exact number, but I know it came back quite a bit less, and half of that will be our portion. The other half is the city, so that's a good thing. The rec expansion is moving forward, but that's a city grant. Stuff that's also in progress is as I drive by, I see that the new pickleball courts are in good progress. They've got all the old pavement tore up, and it's all rolled out, so hopefully we'll be laying pavement soon, or whatever it is they're putting down. The Ken Dukes, the turf was cleaned and infill was replenished before they set up for graduation. So that's a good, actually that happens, tomorrow maybe?
Setup is on Wednesday.
No, I meant the turf is like tomorrow, isn't it?
Oh, it's finished. They
Oh,
did
it's
it this
done?
weekend.
Sweet.
If you walk out on the turf, you can take some home with you.
No, thank you. Memorial Field was aerovation, aerated, rolled, and fertilized, or is being fertilized. And at the facility meeting, the boosters presented their presentation tonight about the scoreboards for the gym, which would be a nice addition. And and we have a finance committee meeting this Thursday. So that's all I've got.
Thank you. I too wanted to thank our retirees and thank them for all their years of service, and hope you all enjoy your retirement. And it was nice. The reception this evening was really nice to see all the retirees once again. So thank you for attending. So Andrew mentioned the Diamond Project. So the Oddfellow organization had a fundraiser at the PAC last month, and they had the main act was this band called the Diamond Project, where they do Neil Diamond tribute songs and things like that, and they were good, but the highlight of that night, for me, was the high school jazz ensemble, the Stardusters. They were amazing beyond belief. These kids sound like true professionals. And so huge kudos to those kids who performed like professionals, pros, under the direction of Jason Locker. They did a fantastic job, and they got a standing ovation from the crowd, which is beyond deserving. So well done to those kids. And thank you to the Oddfellows, because they give a lot back to the community. So that was kind of a fun night. The other thing was Friday we had the law enforcement Sea of Youth ceremony at the PAC as well. And that was well attended by the community and all of our law enforcement agencies. So I just want to thank everybody who was involved in that. I know Chris, Amy, Annie Satterwhite, and all the folks who put that together, and all of our law enforcement agencies, honoring our first responders, past, present, and those who gave their lives in the last year across the country. So great ceremony. And lastly, I just wanted to congratulate, I know the boys track team won the Greater Cleveland Conference Championship last week. Now, I don't have an update on the girls. Okay, second. The girls were second. So the boys were first. So congratulations to our boys and girls track teams. Wish them the best heading on their journey through the district meets. And that's it. Thank you.
Yeah, a couple quick things. We had curriculum. I'm sure Becky will talk about it too a little bit. One of the big things that we spent a chunk of our time was looking at some of the books that I think are on the agenda tonight for us to do the adoption proposal for. Had human geography pre-calc, which I enjoyed, but nobody else really seemed to care for it much, and then a health book too, getting everything up to date and some new classes. So that was interesting to take a look at. And then, of course, our retirees. My name probably wasn't very familiar with most people. I wasn't a Medina graduate. I didn't have those teachers, those bus drivers, interactions with administrators and everybody that really is retired, but I can tell you that you're definitely leaving behind a legacy that you've built here. There's not a single name that was mentioned tonight and on the retiree list that I didn't hear good things about, whether it's from faculty, administration, students, or parents. Just everybody had glowing reviews, so you've ingrained your legacy at this school, and because you're gone, the legacy is still here. Yeah, that's my update.
Okay, I'm going to let Mrs. Parkhurst handle policy because she loves that so much. But I have some info from the Career Center. Corinne Haberney was selected as the Medina County Career Center Student of the Year. She's in Diversified Medical Technology, and she's one of Medina students. And again, their graduation is this Thursday. Also, a new exciting thing that's going to go on at the Career Center, any student from the ages of 18 to 24 who's not really sure what they want to do, or they've been to college and they didn't really like it, we are going to offer free adult education classes. So what's going to happen is you register, but the tuition is going to be totally free. So if you ever wanted to go into HVAC, this would be your chance to do that, and you only would have to pay for the workbooks. Again, congratulations to the track teams and also to the baseball team, who is the GCC champs for the second year in a row. Showtime was an amazing show. The kids are very talented, and I see the numbers in choir are down compared to the times when we would bet in the middle auditorium whether or not the stage was going to go down because there were so many kids on that stage. Then this past week, I've spent a lot of time at Canavan, the Bell Choir. Mr. Brinker has 2 choirs, predominantly boys, and they play the bells, and they were very good. I mean, I was really impressed. And then I went to the Canavan Art Show. Every grade had pictures, were represented in the halls. I mean, there was hardly any room. I didn't get a free popsicle. I was a little disappointed, but I'm going to get over it. I also would like to thank the Parks Director, Jansen Worley, for getting the swim safety program, and along with Miss Cassidy for the second graders. And they're going to do a in-school presentation, and then all the students are going to get a free pass to go to the swimming pool the next day and learn actual in the water with a lifeguard. I'd like to remind everybody that Strings in the Park are this Thursday at noon, and it's supposed to be a beautiful day. Thanks to Mrs. Busby for the Bike to School Week. I mean, there were an amazing amount of kids out there. They need to, however, stop at stop signs because it got to be a little scary a couple times. I also would like to remind people, if your child needs a free physical for either sports or work, you can get, all you have to do is call the free clinic at Medina Hospital and you get a free physical. And I also attended the OSBA Leadership Weekend in April down in Columbus. It was fun. It's amazing, we think it's, we have it hard, but some of the school districts, especially the people, was 2 school board members from East Palestine and all the problems that they are having. Last, I want to congratulate our seniors. I'm looking forward to Saturday, hopefully dry. I just hope everyone is basically to be safe and smart the last couple weeks of school. Thank you to all our staff for all your hard work this year, and congratulations to all the retirees. I think Mr. Quaid finally gave up the ghost and went home, but, oh, is he? Okay. Okay, there he is. All right, he's kind of blocked out. You're really going to be missed, Scott, but thank you for all your years of service, and that's it.
Mr. Ross, you had something to add?
I just wanted to add, I want to thank Krell for coming in with the boosters. I think you don't realize what an asset having the boosters are to the district. Your support and everything you guys do to help us. So I appreciate your commitment to the district and to our kids. And thank you for this current project, and hopefully we can partner up with many more. So thanks.
And thank you for still sticking around. Appreciate it. And yes, Ms. Pritchard, I do enjoy being on the policy committee. Thank you. We did meet this month for our first reading of a stack of policies. We will be meeting in June for the second reading, and then we hope to have those to the board for the June meeting, which will be a first reading at that time if you so approve. Curriculum committee, as Mr. Nichols mentioned, we did review textbooks for some new textbook adoptions, which are on the agenda for this evening. The new courses are AP Pre-Calc and AP Human Geography. And then the other is just a health textbook update, because they haven't had a new textbook for that class for quite a while. It's for the high school health class. And the only other items I have is just to congratulate our retirees, congratulate our upcoming seniors that are graduating. I can't believe it's the end of the year already, and I'm looking forward to Saturday. And just thanking all of our staff, teachers, staff, everyone for a great year. And hopefully they'll be able to use the summer to rest and recover and get ready for all the exciting things coming this fall. And that's it for me. Thank you. Next up is time for public comment. I don't believe anyone signed in, but we do have someone that would like to speak. So if you'd like to come on up and to the podium as you approach, I will read our rules for public comment. Community members wishing to address the board are asked to abide by the following guidelines. Attendees shall register their intention to comment in the public portion of the meeting upon their arrival. After those that have registered have spoken, time allows board president will ask for public comment from all other attendees. Please state your name, address, and affiliation. Please keep comments to a maximum of 3 minutes. No participant may speak more than once on the same topic unless all others who wish to speak on the topic have been heard. All statements shall be directed to the presiding officer. No person may address or question board members individually. Thank you.
Thank you, Scott Quaid. I'm going to list my home address as 777 East Union Street because I think I've spent more time in these halls than I have in any of the houses I've lived in. I wasn't planning on speaking tonight, but I just wanted to take this opportunity to say thank you to the community, to my colleagues, past, present, to a whole bunch of students. I wasn't going to, I could have retired a few years ago, but decided I couldn't until I knew the debate team was in good hands, and I know it is. And I'd like to say that I feel the same way about the district. Over the years, I think I've worked with or for, probably 35 or 36 different building and associate principals. I think I'm on my 7th or 8th superintendent, and God knows how many different board members there have been over the years. And I feel better right now than I ever have in my career with the hands that I'm leaving my district in. And that's how I feel about this district. It's been very good to me. So thank you very much for the opportunity. Bye.
Thank you. If there's no other public comment, if the board so chooses, I'm requesting a 5 to 10 minute recess. Okay, thank you. Be right back. Thank you. Thank you. We've returned. We're back. And we will start back with the treasurer's action items.
Yes, if it pleases the board, it's recommended the Board of Education approve the April 23 Treasurers Report. Item 2, supplemental to 22-23 permanent appropriations. It's recommended the Board of Education approve the following supplementals to the 22-23 permanent appropriations. Items 008 through 300, 9208. Item number 3, five-year forecast. It's recommended the Board of Education approve the May 23 five-year forecast and notes to comply with the State of Ohio Department of Education requirement.
I'll make a motion to approve treasurer's action items number 1, 2, and number 3.
I'll second.
Thank you, Mr. West. Thank you, Mr. Nichols. Any questions or comments from the board? Thank you, Mr. Chambers, for preparing those documents and explaining them, especially the forecast. I know that's a requirement that we have to do for the state, but it also is helpful for us as we are getting ready to go out to request the levy and the bonds, see where we are at financially. Thank you. If there's no other further questions or comments, please call roll.
Mr. West?
Yes.
Mr. Nichols?
Aye.
Mr. Ross?
Aye.
Ms. Pritchard?
Aye.
Ms. Parkhurst?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Sable.
Number 1 is donations. It is recommended that the Board of Education accept the following donations to Medina City Schools. I want to point out a donation on here from the Canavan PTO, a fairly large donation of over $20,000 to go towards renovations and improvements towards their playground. This is a donation for down payment for this project. We are also anticipating, probably on the June agenda, that there will also be further donation from Northrop for similar type projects, and I'll talk a little bit more about that in a little bit. The other one that I just wanted to mention because it's cool and I'd be all over this club is the donation to the Remote Control Cars Club over at AI Route for 2 cars. Number 2, service agreements. We have several service agreements on the agenda this evening. The bulk of these agreements are for special education services per student's individual educational plans. Several of these are for extended service, extended schooling services into the summer. Also, the Educational Service Center of Medina County service agreement is on here as well for $516,000. This agreement is annual with the ESC. I do want to remind the board that we do not do this as an open agreement, which means that if we have to add or change any services with the ESC, we will be coming back to the board for approval. TRECA is also on here, which is our online instruction program for our high school students that helps with credit recovery. And our paper order as well is on the agenda with WB Mason. I think we're changing companies this year in terms of providing paper, and they've just come in with the lower bid. In addition, you can see that other schools in our area are listed on here as well, including Medina City Hall. Just with the size of our district and the amount of paper we purchase, we're able to purchase at a discount and partnering and allowing opportunity for some of our neighboring entities to take advantage of that as well. Playground equipment quotes. We have 2 playground equipment quotes, as I had brought up previously in donations. One is for Ella Canavan. The other one is for Eliza Northrop. These playgrounds are going to be fully funded through our PTOs. It is recommended that the Board of Education approve the following quotes for playground equipment. Again, we are still waiting on some of these donations. We have received the initial donation for Canavan, which is going to be a down payment to allow this project to begin over the summer. And the remainder of these payments should be coming here in June. We actually just very recently, I think as of today, received communication from the PTOs, and they are getting things organized. Number 4, textbook adoption. As Mrs. Parkhurst had mentioned, it is recommended that the Board of Education accept the attached textbooks for public preview with the intent to recommend for adoption in June 23 following the preview period. Number 5, it is recommended that the Board of Education approve a contract with Astro Pool Company for Medina Recreation Center natatorium repairs in the amount of $808,000, including the alternate bid items. Medina City School District will fund the total cost of the repairs, and the City of Medina will reimburse 100% of the cost of the spa repairs and lift replacement, and 50% of the remaining cost of the repairs. I would like to invite Mr. O'Call, our business manager, up just to share a little bit of information regarding the bid process.
So I do want to let you know that in this bid process, the next lowest bidder is contesting this process. So I've been in contact with Astro Pools, who is the winner of the contract. They've been in the pool business. They've done 50 years of public bid work. And they have committed to this bid that they've provided us. I also met with Jansen Worley with the city and Pat Patton, the city engineer. We reviewed the bids. We're fairly confident with the language in our contract that we are able to accept this bid that Nancy has provided for us. It's in the agenda. It has the alternative E, the ceiling duct cleaning. There was no bid on this scope of work. We put it in the bid. We didn't know what the results were going to be of this. The next lowest bidder had a $75,000 amount attached to cleaning the structure and the ceiling. We've never done this in the past, so I think it's an item at this time we're removing from the bid. We're going to see if it's something we can address or a different way to address it. So it will not be part of this bid package any longer. So I just wanted you to be aware that there is another company out there that is questioning our bid process on this. But you have the letter there from Nancy, the architectural engineer, recommending the bid of Astro Pools.
Moving along, number 6 is a resolution. It is recommended that the Board of Education approve the Power for Schools electric renewal agreement effective January 1st, 2024 through June 30th, 2025 at a rate of 0.05635 per kilowatt hour. And that's a consortium to save money on electricity. Number 7, another resolution for insurance agent of record change. It is recommended that the Board of Education approve the resolution to authorize Siebert Keck Insurance Partners Agency, Inc. as the agent of record for district property, liability, fleet, cyber, and any additional necessary commercial property liability insurance. Number 8 is a resolution to award a bid for district paving. It is recommended that the Board of Education adopt the resolution to award a contract to Ohio Paving and Construction Company, Inc. for the 2023 district paving in the amount of just over $305,000. Field trips, it is recommended that the Board of Education approve the following overnight field trips in compliance with policy number 2340. The Girls Basketball Midwest Live Showcase is in June in Sandusky. In addition to that, we have both of our Washington, D.C. 8th grade field trips. on the agenda for Root and Claggett. I do want to note that both the trips in the upcoming year are scheduled to occur in the fall. Number 10 is stipend payments. It is recommended that the Board of Education approve the stipend payments to district teachers who have served as cooperating teachers for students attending universities during the spring 2023 semester, as listed below. All of them listed tonight are through Ashland University. And number 11 is personnel. It is recommended that the Board of Education approve the following personnel recommendations pending completion of all required documentation per the Director of Human Resources. I do want to point out that we do have a psychologist administrative appointment within the recommendations. In addition to that, we have all of the administrative and psychologist contract recommendation renewals. These are not new contract positions. These are existing employees, and this is just part of their regular contract cycle as they go through their evaluations and then are recommended for new contracts the following year. The same is the case for the certificated contract recommendations for the 23-24 school year. That is per the evaluation process and recommendations based upon what is spelled out within the negotiated agreement. We also have the non-renewals at the end of the 22-23 school year. For supplemental contracts. This is also just a normal order of business. Oftentimes, many of these contracts are filled by many of the same individuals that are listed. This is because these are one-year contracts on the agenda.
I'd like to make a motion to approve action items H1 through 11.
I'll second.
Thank you, Mr. Nichols. Thank you, Ms. Pritchard. Any questions or comments from the board?
Just one. I just wanted, Ryan, you said somebody's questioning that contract. What does that mean? Somebody's questioning it. Are we in trouble?
No, we go through a bid process where we send the request for proposals out, and then we meet at the board office, and then we open the bids, and there's a whole process that the bidders have to go through. And then our architectural engineer evaluates those, and they give us a recommendation. So that's what they've done. The other entity that is not the low bidder questioned some of the items that were in there. They gave an answer to the question of a total lineal feet instead of it was a per unit bid. So based on the language in the contract, the legal notice that went out, we are permitted to accept errors in a bid if it doesn't affect the bottom line, which this does not affect the bottom line.
Okay, so you don't see any problems moving forward then?
No, and I in talking with Astro Pool today, they are the contractor that did Memorial Pool for Medina City as well.
Yeah.
Medina City was very pleased with the work that they did at Memorial. They are a pool contractor. That's what they do. So they're confident that their bid is accurate and will be acceptable by the school.
Okay, well, I guess I was getting at, because we have a timeline, so this whatever you want to call it, questioning, that's not going to hold up.
No, I don't anticipate this causing any issues with moving forward with the project.
I had a quick question about playground equipment in general, not necessarily the quote. Do you want me to ask it now, or we can talk about it at a later date if you want? Okay. Do we have any playground equipment or a good chunk of playground equipment that's mildly accessible for like kids with disabilities and things like that?
We don't, but that's part of the process that you're looking at. Ella Canavan is putting in, that's a fully accessible, what do you,
Yeah.
like a merry-go-round.
All of our playground equipment across the district has to meet a certain specification to meet the needs of special education students. And what they're looking at doing at the two elementary schools with the donations is actually going above and beyond. What we don't have in the district is a playground that is completely for special education. And that's actually one of the conversations that we've talked about with the construction of a new preschool, that would be a much more modified playground for the students in that program. But all of our playgrounds do meet the required specifications for special education. And typically, even in the past, we've made additional adjustments as needed to meet the needs of specific students with disabilities.
Okay, that's fair. Yeah, it just seeing that on there made me think to Brunswick's like ridiculously crazy, fully accessible to everyone playground that they just put in, and I wasn't looking for something that extensive because that's very expensive, very, very expensive. But that's good to know that these quotes are going towards something like that. So awesome.
I do appreciate the donations from the PTOs for these items, as well as all the other donations. We mentioned the boosters earlier, and when you look at that donation list, there's just so many donations from community organizations and individuals, and it is greatly appreciated that we have such support in our community for our students and for these special programs like the RC Club and things like that maybe we wouldn't be able to do otherwise. I also just wanted to recognize the district for their collaboration with the other community schools, the private schools, and the city for the paper delivery, being able to share the good fortune of a good price and getting that paper delivered to them. I know they do reimburse us for that, but it is nice that they can take advantage of our cost savings as well. Glad to see that we can all work together. Are there any other questions or comments from the board regarding action items 1 through 11? Hearing none, Mr. Chambers, when you're ready, please.
Mr. Nichols?
Aye.
Ms. Pritchard?
Aye.
Mr. Ross?
Aye.
Mr. West?
Yes.
Mrs. Parkhurst?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, it is recommended that the Medina City School District Board of Education approve the memorandum of agreement by and between Charles E. Harris and Associates, an independent public accountant, Keith Faber, Auditor of State, and the Medina City School District.
Make a motion, we approve treasure action item I1.
I'll second that motion.
Thank you, Mr. Ross. Thank you, Mr. West. Any questions or comments from the board? Okay, hearing none, Mr. Chambers?
Mr. Ross?
Aye.
Mr. West?
Yes.
Mr. Nichols?
Aye.
Ms. Pritchard?
Aye.
Ms. Parkhurst?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you. At this time, I'm asking for a motion to move into executive session to consider the appointment, employment, dismissal, discipline, or compensation of a public employee or official, for discussion with the board's legal counsel of disputes involving the board that are the subject of pending or imminent court action, and for preparation for, conducting, or reviewing negotiations or bargaining sessions with employees concerning their compensation or other terms and conditions of their employment.
So moved.
Thank you, Ms. Pritchard.
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Ross. Any questions or comments from the board? I will note that when we return from executive session, we do not anticipate taking any action. Mr. Chambers, when you're ready.
Ms. Pritchard?
Aye.
Mr. Ross?
Aye.
Mr. Nichols?
Aye.
Mr. West?
Yes.
Ms. Parkhurst?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you all for attending this evening, and have a good night.